Welcome to Dear Texas Radio, where we encourage Texans to drop everything and read. Your hostess for today's show is Denise Bryson.
Hello, Texas. This is Dear Texas Radio. I'm Denise Bryson, and I am so privileged to be interviewing Miss Ellen Leventhal. And she is the author of several books. She has children's books, and we're going to talk to her today about, because we want to hear about Sue Ellen, because Sue Ellen is the main character in several of her books, and especially her last one, Don't Eat the Bluebonnets. And we're going to be talking to her today. And Ellen, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Okay, I live in Houston, and I don't want to say I'm a retired teacher because I still do teach part-time, but I taught for more years than you want to know, and all the time I was teaching, I like to write also. And actually, my co-author for those 3 books that we call the South Pasture series is now a guidance counselor, but she taught with me. And so we always loved writing with the kids. We kind of changed the curriculum up and tried to make it a little bit more interesting. So that's kind of about me. I'm a teacher and a writer in Houston. And mother and wife and, grandmother, which is kind of the most fun.
Oh, yes. I can imagine. How many grandchildren do you have?
I have 3.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Such jewels. Now, one of the things that you do, you go to schools and you do like seminars or something like that. Could you tell us a little bit about that? Because that goes along with your writing as well.
Absolutely. That's my favorite thing to do, which has been really good since I have an education background. I try to present my books in the schools when I can get in. And it's not just the books. We talk about the writing process. I sometimes do writing workshops separately from the books. Mm-hmm. But on 2 of the books, Hey Fest, The Holiday Quest, and Bully in the Barnyard, I do presentations on really moral courage and standing up for what's right and inclusion. Yeah. And, I think they're pretty important topics.
Yes, they are. They are very important. And when I was reading some of the excerpts from the book, and I was thinking, I said, I could imagine you targeting, especially Bullies in the Barnyard, toward that particular topic in the school system. So let's get to it. Tell us about Sue Ellen and how her and these bluebonnets. Could you tell us something about the book?
I sure can. Well, let's start at the beginning with that one. About 10 years ago, my co-author, Ellen Rothberg, was driving her daughter up to Texas A&M, and she said she saw some cows in the bluebonnets. And one thing we always did with our students to encourage creative writing, we would say, what if? And she actually said, what if those bluebonnets? So we kind of came up with that, and we went crazy. We had such silly things going on. And then, of course, we had to try to make it into some type of a picture book. The background on that book is, in the original version, there was also Max was a longhorn. And to be honest, the only reason we put a longhorn in is although the other Ellen's daughter went to A&M, my sons were alums of UT Austin, and I had to have a longhorn in the book for them.
Yeah.
But we entered a contest, and the prize was getting our book published. And it was by Rita Mills, who was a publisher. And she was wonderful. But the one thing she was great about was she pointed out how terrible our writing was for a picture book. She wouldn't think that was great. Well, because what it was, both of us were used to writing for older kids. So because of that, I took classes, and I really learned how to cut words down and how to write a picture book, which is very, very different than writing a middle grade novel. And that's one thing I do in the schools, too. I show them the difference in my writing, how picture books are very different. I personally think they're harder, but that's just my opinion. Okay, so I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say,
ask you, what would be the difference in the picture book versus the other? What would the wording be shorter, or could you explain that?
Absolutely. And well, you have to. First of all, the market now is saying that fiction be around 500 to 600 words max. Now, if you think of the picture books we had when we were kids, they were much longer. Now, I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm just saying that's the market now. And when you're writing, say, a middle grade novel, you might want to do a lot of descriptive words. You know, you really want to describe a lot. And in a picture book, you need to leave that up to the illustrator. So I wouldn't say Sue Ellen wore a beautiful blue collar around her neck. It hung and glittered like the sun. You just don't do that in picture books. You let the illustrator decide. So that was kind of a fun, different thing.
Oh, wow. And that is the thing with children's books. You do have to have a good illustrator. And so that, because it makes a world of difference for those types of picture books. Would you say that? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And so as I was saying, fast forward many years after the first Don't Eat the Bluebonnets came out, our publisher decided that she didn't want to do children's books anymore. And so we had sold all these books, and we didn't know what to do, but we loved the book. So we pitched it to another publisher. There was a new illustrator, and Clear Fork Publishing picked it up, and I am thrilled with how it turned out.
Oh, wow. That's great. That is great.
Yeah.
So now, Sue Ellen kind of has like a series, because she has Don't Eat the Bluebonnets, and then she's Hay Fest, The Holiday Quest. Could you tell us about some of her other books? And even Bullies in the Barnyard.
Bully in the Barnyard. Well, Sue Ellen as a character is kind of a sassy cow, you know. She likes to do what she likes to do, and no one's going to tell her what to do. And that's another thing with children's books. You want the character to change and learn something. So by the end of the book, of course, Sue Ellen learns it, but you don't have an adult telling her. She has to learn on her own. In Hay Fest, The Holiday Quest, that was another what-if type of book. And this was about, obviously, holidays. And in this book, Sue Ellen wanted to celebrate her holiday, Hay Fest. And she said it was the only holiday to celebrate. And, of course, all the other animals in the barn celebrated different holidays. And they were thrilled to celebrate with her, but they didn't want her telling them what to celebrate. And, of course, by the end, she realizes that everybody can get along and be part of a community, but also have their own holidays and cultures and traditions. So that was that.
Right. So she always learns very important lessons.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite to do in schools, because I'll go into schools and I always start with, does everyone celebrate the same holidays? And a lot of times the kids say yes. Oh, and the other thing with that book, I don't use Christmas and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and Eid. I don't use real holidays. We made them up because I didn't want to leave, or we didn't want to leave anyone out. So if we made fake holidays, we couldn't possibly offend anyone.
Right. That's good. Yeah, because Hay Fest is definitely Sue Ellen's holiday.
Right. But, you know, Horns of Palooza is Max, and Lady Bugaloo is Gertie's. So they learn at the end that, like I said, they can all live together, and they can be a community, and they can celebrate each other's holidays, but you can't force your holiday on someone else. And that was that.
Great.
And, of course, Bully in the Barnyard.
Oh, go ahead with Bullies. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that's pretty obvious. That's an anti-bullying book. And even though it's a picture book, I do that with older kids a lot, because it talks about trying to be included and how some kids will maybe make poor choices just to be included. So we talk a lot about that.
Oh, what a great topic, yes.
Yeah.
That's really a great topic, because that happens so much in the school system. And I see that even now, even what I'm doing in the school system. So that's really a great topic to be able to help children through that process, because it's definitely going on. Now, can I ask a question? What made you become a children's writer? Is it because you were the teacher and you just wanted to target that market, or have you ever thought about writing any other kind of genre, any other kind of like mysteries or anything like that?
Actually, I have. I belong to a marketing group, and we've done anthologies, and so I've written for adults. And it's kind of funny. It's kind of freeing because you can write more, and you can, obviously hit some topics that you don't want to in a picture book. And I've done that, and I really like middle grade, and I'm trying my hand at that. Middle grade is, maybe 4th, 5th grade. And I've done some short stories. I haven't done a complete novel on middle grade, although Ellen Rothberg and I did do one several years ago, but it never did get picked up. Maybe we'll submit it again. Who knows?
Well, we're gonna have to go to. We'll come right back and we'll talk more about your anthology. But we're going to take a short break and hear from our wonderful sponsors, and then we're going to hear about also a contest that's been going on where you can win one of Ellen's books. So just let us. We're going to take a short break, and then we'll be right back with Ellen Leventhal.
Dear Texas would like to thank our sponsors. Attention authors or those wanting to be an author. The Hill Country Writing Symposium is a place to learn how to be a better writer and to learn more about the publishing world. Join us in picturesque Wimberley, Texas on March 16th through the 18th for a fun time sharing ideas and concepts. It's a perfect event for new and experienced writers. To learn more, go to our website, writing.texasauthors.institute, or email us at info@texasauthors.institute. The third annual short story contest begins March 1st and runs through July 31st. Enter your short story for a chance at prizes and getting published. To learn more about this annual event, please visit our website at txshorts.com. Dear Texas would like to invite you to the McKinney Square Book Festival on June 3rd, 2017. The event will be held at the Performing Arts Center from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Meet 40-plus Texas authors, many of whom have won awards. Special events will take place during the day, and a special musical guest, Billy Dawson, will perform at 2 p.m. For more information, please visit our website, mckinney.deartexas.info. Wimberley Valley Tourism welcomes people to explore the many fine shops, restaurants, and wineries that make Wimberley special. More at wvtla.com. From concept to casting, recording to post-production, Spoke Media is dedicated to creating a superlative listener experience. www.spokemedia.io. EBG 247, where you can find ebooks galore 24 hours, 7 days a week at ebg247.com. Welcome to Dear Texas Radio, where we encourage Texans to drop everything and read. Your hostess for today's show is Denise Bryson.
Welcome back to Dear Texas Radio. We have been interviewing Ellen Leventhal, and we have just been excited to hear about all her children's books. And now we're going to start to hear about some of her anthologies that she's a part of, and we're going to hear about those books as well. Ellen, could you tell us a little bit about The First Date? Now, that was one. It's called, let me get the right title here. First Last Forever. Yeah, and when it talks about those first dates, it says everybody has had one. Could you tell us about that?
Well, yes. Again, as I said, I'm in it's kind of a marketing group or a writer consortium, and we're called the Space City Scribes. And First Last Forever was the theme was bad first dates. Now, I got to tell you, I've been married for almost 46 years, so I had to really go back. But it was so much fun to do because, as I said, you could be a lot freer. I did one where there was a stalker, and the other one was about a divorced woman who was going on what she thought was a first date with someone. Her children set her up, and it was really her ex. And I have to say, I think the other writers in this anthology are incredible. This is a stretch for me doing middle grade and picture books to do adults writing about first dates. But it was really a lot of fun to do. And, we hope people still like that book. It was just a fun book.
It seems like a good book from what I got to read about it. Because I know I did read about you and the stalker. And so could you tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah, that was really fun to do because it was so different. And when people read it, they're like, oh, my goodness, there's a dark side to you.
And what about Space City 6? Could you tell us a little bit about that one?
Yes, that was the first one that we did. And that was, the theme had to be Houston, which is, of course, why it's called Space City 6. And everybody wrote a different genre. I love historical fiction. And my story, called A Soldier's Gift, was based on truth. It was my parents' story. Now, to be honest, my parents were from New Jersey, but I had to change it and move the setting. But it was, I don't know if you've read that. I'll tell you just real quickly. My dad was in the Battle of the Bulge, and one thing that happened to him there is that besides he himself getting injured, he saved someone who he assumed was going to die, but he wasn't going to let him die out there in the snow alone. He hopped out of his tank, took this man to the aid station, and went on. He himself was in the hospital, and actually General Patton came and said, if you want this next assignment, you need to get out. And that assignment was to help liberate a concentration camp. And he did. Now, fast forward many years, he gets a call from someone. This is all true. Of course, in the story, I elaborated and, I wasn't there. But this is true. He gets a call, and the man that he saved had tracked him down 40 years later. He didn't die, and he was living in the town next to him. And became, isn't that amazing? They became really good friends. And then also, when he did liberate that concentration camp, fast forward again many years, visiting my son, who's now grown, but when he was in preschool, his preschool teacher was in that concentration camp that my dad liberated.
Oh, my goodness.
Isn't that so? So I thought it was just an amazing story, and since I love historical fiction, and I haven't written a lot of adult stories, I thought I'm just going to write that, and it turned out great.
Wow, that would just be that is a great story, and for it to be, and then the truth in the story is really awesome. I mean, that would make a good nonfiction as well. So, but I know, sometimes the fiction part of it makes it people like, oh, okay.
It really is. it's really a nonfiction story, except for the fact that I can't cite for sure the conversations between the soldiers.
Right.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
I only had
Right.
my dad's writing and my dad's memory, and by the time I wrote that, my dad had passed away already,
Mm-hmm.
as well as my mother, so I couldn't ask. But otherwise, it's true.
Yeah, but I'm still glad you wrote that. I know that sounds like a very interesting story. I'm gonna have to go back and read that myself. What about Kissed by an Angel?
Oh, that's really special. I did this for a friend of mine. None of us got paid. None of us get any royalties or anything from the book. It all goes to what's called the Sturge-Weber Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And Sturge-Weber is a neurological disease, and I would encourage people to look it up and learn about it. It can be very mild. It can be very severe. My friend's son has a very severe case, and she's a writer. And so she asked people to write middle grade stories, and the protagonist had to be a child with a special ability. So it could be a real special ability, you know, okay, this person's really good at math, or it could be some of the kids could fly. My protagonist was able to read code, even though he was dyslexic and had a real hard time reading regular words.
Mm-hmm.
And
so
again,
that's what the code breaker. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was another historical fiction. I'm not obsessed with World War II, but I know a lot about it. And that took place in Austria just prior to World War II, when the Nazis came and took over. And this young protagonist saved his friend's family because he read in code what was happening. Now, this was, it was all from my head, so I can't say there was no nonfiction in that. But it was that was also fun to do.
Wow. So what is your what do you think your passion for writing is? Is it just that you've always wanted to be a writer, or you just always written because you were a school teacher, or is there something else that motivates that passion you have?
Well, you know, I think like most writers, I've always been writing. I'd be writing little poems when I was a kid, and I'd be the one entering the creative writing contests. I did take creative writing in high school and college, but I never really went far with it. But I realized, I was writing poems for people for their birthday and for their anniversaries, and if somebody needed a poem, they came to me, and I thought, maybe I should really spend some time on it. And so, especially the last several years, I've really thrown myself into it. I've taken a lot of classes. So that's one thing I tell the kids at school, that you never stop learning. When I tell them that I have to take classes and I have homework and it's writing, they look at me like I'm crazy. They said, but you can write. I said, but you could always get better. So
yes, that is so
where
true.
I am now.
I
think
true.
with anything.
Now, what process do you use to write? Now, do you write early in the morning, or what? Take us through that journey.
Oh, my goodness. I wish I was one of those people who could say, yes, I get up, I have my coffee, I go right until noon, then I take a break, and then I write again. I am not that disciplined. I wish I was. But I really do, because I'm also doing a lot of other things. So but right now I am trying to make writing a priority. So I will get up and I will force myself to write every day, even if it's only 10 minutes a day. Sometimes that happens. But I can't tell you that it's at the same time. I try to do it in the morning. I try to do some things in the morning, come back and write. but I don't have a real routine. I wish I did. I'm trying to develop that. You know, just like learning all the time, I'm trying to develop better habits.
Yes.
And
now,
so
go ahead.
No, go
I was
ahead.
going to say, where can we get your books at? Because I know we can purchase your books on TexasAuthors.com. Where else can we get your books at? And that is one of our main places to get the books is on Texas Authors on website. You're able to access your books from there. And do you have a website or any other social media websites that you would like to let people know where you are?
I would love to. My website is just www.ellenleventhal.com, and that will lead you to places you can get the book. The anthologies are on Amazon.com, as is Don't Eat the Bluebonnets. So you can go there for that. The other two books, you'd really have to contact me or Texas Authors. And the other place, excuse me, I almost forgot, this is really important. The other place that you can get Don't Eat the Bluebonnet Publishing. Okay.
And then are you on any of the other social media like Facebook, Twitter, and things like that? Are you on those sites as well?
Yes. My Twitter handle is @EllenL.Wright. And I have a personal Facebook page, but also, which is just my name. And then I have Ellen Leventhal Writer is my professional Facebook page.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Ellen. I mean, we have enjoyed listening to all about Sue Ellen and all your other books. And really, I really enjoyed listening about the story about your dad and being in the Battle of the Bulge. I remember that movie because my brother watched that movie so many times, and I think that's why I remember that. So when you said that, it just kind of resonated with that with me. And it's just been such a pleasure being able to interview you and really to hear about all that you're doing. And and we're going to get ready to close out, and so we don't want to be in the middle of a conversation when that happens. But anyway, what is next for you? And I just want to say to all of our listeners, it has been a pleasure being your host today on Dear Texas Radio, and we hope to see you here again or for you to listen to us again on next week. And we've been interviewing Ellen Leventhal, and please go out to some of her sites and support her and buy her books because they're great books, especially if you have children. You want to be a part of Sue Ellen and her adventures.
Thank you so much. It was great speaking with you.
Great speaking with you, too. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to Dear Texas Radio. To learn more about Dear Texas and its literacy programs, please visit their website at deartexas.info. I'm Alex Anthony, your announcer. Dear Texas would like to thank our sponsors. Bourgeois Media and Consulting, a book publishing consultant where creative inspiration is realized. More at bourgeoismedia.com. I'm Alex Anthony, your announcer. For all inquiries regarding voiceover, narration, and announcing services as heard on this program, please make contact through voxluxstudio@gmail.com, voxluxstudio@gmail, or you can call 512-537-6077. Thank you for listening and for your support.